Hi everyone, welcome to Mindgasms. And I'm Andrew, aka Pro-Vax Anti-Mandate Mindgasms for the purposes of this video. And we'll talk about this recent news that US President Joe Biden got tested positive for COVID-19. And of course, people have all of their political opinions about it because everything is politically polarized nowadays. So I'm going to show this little 1-minute clip and talk about the different ways that people are interpreting this depending on their political affiliations. Okay, so here, U.S. President Joe Biden tests positive for COVID-19. President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19 and is experiencing mild symptoms. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said on Thursday, Biden, who is fully vaccinated and twice boosted, so 4 vaccines, has started taking Paxlovid. I've never heard of that before. Pfizer's antiviral drug, which Pfizer is, of course, one of the companies that produce one of the vaccines. Pfizer's antiviral drug used to minimize the severity of COVID-19. This is the first time the 79-year-old president has tested positive, according to CNN. I'm going to show this short video here with Biden talking about it and people associated with the White House officials commenting on it as well.
Concerns, but I'm doing well.
Because the president is fully vaccinated, double boosted, his risk of serious illness is dramatically lower. He's also getting treated with a very...
He's right. That's what I was going to add this later on, but that's one thing that annoys me about anti-vaxxers or vaccine hesitant people. They always claim that it's like this knockdown mic drop argument when someone who has gotten vaccinated gets COVID, but that's not that wasn't even the function of vaccines to begin with. No one ever said that taking a vaccine prevents you from getting COVID. What the vaccines do is they decrease your likelihood of getting it, but more importantly, the main effect of the vaccine, regardless of which one you get, is that it dramatically reduces, I think by at least 90%, your chances of getting hospitalized and fucking dying from the vid. So that's pretty good reason to get vaccinated, which is why I've gotten vaccinated twice, because I've looked into the science about it and I thought that there was enough evidence and enough reason for me to get vaccinated, particularly because I live with older people with chronic health conditions. So it's safer for them also for me to get vaccinated, even though I'm a young and healthy person. But I haven't gotten the 3rd or 4th doses because, according to what I've heard people say about the science and what I've learned from looking into it, the 3rd one is not necessarily necessary for everyone in the way that the first 2 were, and especially not for young and healthy people like me. And the 4th one, even more so, is not necessary for everyone. But again, older people and people with chronic health conditions are the people who should be getting the 3rd and particularly the 4th doses. But like I said, I'm against vaccine mandates too. And so I supported basically I wouldn't say I supported the quote unquote freedom convoy here in Canada, but I did think it was way too fucking anti-authoritarian for Justin Trudeau to invoke the Emergencies Act, and that's why he's being investigated by the Canadian Supreme Court for that, which is good. And also the news made it look like all of the freedom convoy truckers are these evil white supremacists, whereas in reality that's actually the minority of them. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that for now.
very powerful antiviral, and that further reduces his risk of serious illness.
That's the
it's a
paroxysmal.
reminder of the
Go back a
reason
second.
that serious illness. And that further reduces his risk of serious illness.
Go back.
Is dramatically lower. He's also getting treated with a very powerful antiviral, and that further reduces his risk of serious illness. And it's a reminder of the reason that we all work so hard to make sure that every American has the same level of protection that the president has, that every American has the same level of immunity, and why we have worked so hard to make sure.
That's not going to happen. It's never going to be the case that 100% of people get vaccinated, which would have to be the case if people were every American were going to have the same level of immunity.
That people have access to life-saving treatments like Paxlovid. These are incredibly important things for the president to have. They're incredibly important things for every American to have.
Okay.
Double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild, and I really appreciate your inquiries and your concerns. But I'm doing well.
I forgot that showed that at the beginning there. All right, so yeah, of course, this is big news that's trending on Twitter right now. It doesn't really it's not that big of a deal if you've gotten, for most people, especially if you've gotten COVID, if you get COVID, if you've gotten 4 vaccinations like Biden. Of course, it's a bigger deal for anyone of his age with his health conditions. I'm not sure what they are exactly, but probably heart conditions or whatever, I'm assuming, with given his age. But even for people at a higher risk than even for people like him who have gotten 4 vaccinations, rather, he's at higher risk. So even though I'm not really a fan of Biden and I wouldn't have voted for him, but I think he's slightly better than Trump, and I sure as fuck wouldn't have voted for him. I don't wish that anyone gets COVID. I don't hope that anyone gets it, and I would hope that anyone who gets it would have mild symptoms as he does too. So again, even though I'm not a big fan of him, I hope he gets better, and I'm glad that he's not sick. And yeah, I wanted to add too, I was just going to comment on this, the anti-vaxxers and vaccine hesitant people, like I said, use anyone getting COVID as evidence that vaccines don't work, which is totally bullshit, because as I said, that's not even the main function of vaccines. But also, so like I call myself here, I'm pro-vax but anti-mandate. I think that it's good for most people to get the first 2 vaccinations, but I'm also fairly anti-authoritarian, so I'm against vaccine mandates because I don't think it should be up to the government to demand by law that everyone get vaccinated, even though it would be good for them, in my opinion. So that's why I personally voted for the Green Party leader here in Canada in the last election, because she, believe it or not, including the Conservative Party, other than the fucking wacko right-wing party, People's Party of Canada, which ironically sounds like a communist name for a party. Other than that wacko fucking right-wing conspiratorial party, the People's Party of Canada, the Green Party was the only one who was against vaccine mandates. And she, unlike the PPC, actually proposed an alternative solution for it. Annamie Paul was her name, which is why I voted for her party, because she was against vaccine mandates, but had the alternative of setting up education centers where people to go and learn about them, because she talked about how for Native or Indigenous people here in Canada, which because there are more of them, they have a similar history in terms of government oppression as Black people in the US. People think that anti-vaxxers in the US are all these wacko Trump supporters, whereas in reality, they're actually the minority, and lower class, working class people are actually, and underprivileged people of color or whatever are more likely to be vaccine hesitant, because there's been a history of pharmaceutical companies and government manipulating and taking advantage and doing awful things to Black people. So there's a similar history of that with Native people here in Canada, which is why she talked about how Indigenous people in particular here in Canada have a justifiable reason to not trust pharmaceutical companies and the government. So that's why she wanted to set up education centers where people can go if they choose to learn about vaccines that wouldn't be as effective as mandates, of course, but it's the most effective thing that the government should do, in my opinion, which I think is good. So anyway, Biden got COVID. He's going to be okay. I know a lot of right wingers probably hope he dies. I know a lot of left wingers probably think, well, extreme left wingers, of course, think that everyone should get vaccinated 4 times and that should be mandated. I don't agree with any of those polar opposite wacko takes. But yeah, that's it. Biden got COVID. Hopefully he gets well. So thanks everyone for watching this little news update. Click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Click that like button, share this everywhere, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description of the video as always. And if you give me $10 a month, you can vote on future topics, books, and movies that I discuss both by myself and with others. And check out my last video I made yesterday talking about the infamous debate between Jordan Peterson, the internet famous clinical psychologist, and Kyle Kalinske, the lefty progressive YouTuber, about trans issues, and the tweet that got Jordan Peterson suspended from Twitter, in which he dead named Elliot Page and was just a dick to him for no reason. I don't think he should have been banned, but he's just an asshole for no reason. And he has such an extreme take that he basically doesn't quite get to the point, but confirms in another video called Butchers and Liars Reprised or something like that, that he thinks that all trans surgeries are a mistake, which is fucking wacko. So check that out too in all future videos. And this weekend, I'm going to be talking about Shadows of Self with my nerd friends Dusty and Tristram, which is book 2 in era 2 of Brandon Sanderson's epic Mistborn fantasy series. And era 2 is kind of fantasy western. This one, Shadows of Self, goes from fantasy western into murder mystery, into trying to stop a terrorist plot in order for a demigod to attempt to kill a god. So check out that, and that'll be really fun. And thanks again for watching, everyone. And always remember, most importantly, always remember this. I love you all. And the groove is in the heart, and the funk cures all. And it's not good for anyone to get COVID. And it's sad that people are have politicized the fuck out of COVID and vaccines. So hopefully that sort of thing will not happen as much. Well, at least COVID is not as much in the news now with the Ukraine and Russia war and all that shit. So everyone's gone from being vaccine and COVID experts to being foreign policy experts now, of course. All right. So thanks again, everyone, and audio.